Hey baddies, it's your girl Bevy, and this is a heart-to-heart video. I want to talk to you about how my business almost failed and I blamed everyone and everything but myself instead of holding myself accountable. And through a lot of prayer and a lot of meditation, I learned that the reason why my business was going to fail or could have failed or could fail at any given moment is not because of lack of resources, money, lack of support, lack of support from investors, lack of a good team, lack of the right software tools, all those things that naturally seem like it's all part of business, poor marketing, lack of all of those things. Really the truth of the matter is, I think that, I don't come here and talk about my faith a lot, but this was the first time that I felt like I should, because I never wanted to push anybody away. I don't want anyone to feel that I'm pushing an agenda or forcing, faith onto anyone, but this is my story and it's real and it's relevant to me, and I should be able to talk about my story. And that is no anything on anyone. I'm not trying to make anyone feel uncomfortable or anyone feel like, they need to, see things my way or have my worldview. And honestly, I almost feel like that should have absolutely nothing to do with whether or not I provide you with an excellent product that's going to give or excellent service. But that's neither here nor there, because I'm at peace with attracting the right tribe to me and repelling anyone who should not be here. So to make what could be a very long story short, especially coming from me because I'm winded, is that I've been working on HairScripts, now HairScripts, for almost 5 years. It started honestly as just a regular hair care brand with edge control and, a leave-in conditioner and a gel, kind of like, the whole thing, the essentials that you need to manage your curly hair, right? At the time I had long, thick, beautiful curly hair down my back. It was all natural. Everyone thought that it was a weave. I was just blessed with long hair. And then I was in a very toxic marriage, and I'll be limited on certain things that I say. And a few years into the marriage, I'll say about maybe 3 years into the marriage, I started noticing that my health was deteriorating, my health was declining. And let me take a quick step back. I didn't notice that my health was deteriorating. The reason that I found out my health was deteriorating because my face broke out with all types of cystic acne, acne and cystic acne, hormonal acne, and then ultimately my hair started to fall out. I lost 60% of coverage on my scalp. And the reason why I don't have a lot of pictures is because I was so depressed at that time in my life. I was in such a low place that I just wasn't thinking, oh, let me take pictures for before and after. Oh, I'm gonna do a business out of this. I didn't think any of that. That was never the goal. A lot of times now that we're aware, right, that everything is content and you want to just take pictures, you never know how you're going to utilize things. That's different now, especially the way that I am now. But at that time in my life, it was very simple. I wasn't going to, I wasn't taking pictures. I was depressed. I barely wanted to look in the mirror when I got up in the morning. So I was in a very, very toxic marriage. And 3 years in, I lost almost 60% of my hair and coverage on my scalp. And that was the thing that made me say, hold up, what's going on, right? Nothing else, not all the pain that I was feeling in my gut, the inflammation in my joints. My left knee would feel swollen all the time. I was starting to get swollen ankles. I wasn't sleeping. My appetite was just inconsistent. It's like I had a little bit of an eating disorder. Everything that was happening didn't matter. It wasn't until my hair, my pride and joy started to fall out. Even the acne, I was just throwing makeup on top of it. Like, dang, why this acne acting up? And I would just throw makeup on top of it. And even the acne wasn't it. But my hair loss, though, that was it for me, because thick, long, beautiful hair down your back as an adult. I'm not saying as a kid. As a kid, yes, but as an adult. And you mean to tell me all this is what? So that's when I knew something was really wrong. To make a very long story short, that's what sent me to the doctor. I have my hair loss, hair regrowth story all over this channel. This is not that. I want to get to the business. But the point is, I went ahead and found out that, through a biopsy, through a punch biopsy on the scalp, found out that I was, that I had androgenetic alopecia. And, that kind of opened the door for me to find out that there was a whole bunch of other things going on in my body. I had so many different chronic conditions going on at the same time, that it's like, where do you even start? How do you even focus on your hair when you got to focus on all these things? But by the grace of God, he connected me to the right people, the right specialists. I always called them my dream team. I had endocrinologists, gynecologists, dermatologists, the right PCP, GI. I'm not gonna butcher that word, even though I'm always tempted to. The right GI. That's all I can remember right now off the top of my head, but I had all the right people to come together to work on my overall health, bring my health back to where it needs to be. And then through my health kind of getting back to where it needed to be, I would start to see little buds of hair sprouting back out. And then as I stabilized my overall health, nutritionist as well, I was then able to focus on growing my hair and all those other things, and boom, gave birth to this channel. This channel was me just showing you guys what I was doing and what I was doing in the moment, but what I also did to grow my hair back, not all the way back, right? To start growing my hair back to where it was when I started the channel. And it just started this whole thing. Long story short, I was doing all types of reviews on supplements that I was using, talking about the hair loss product, talking about all kinds of health related stuff, and then talking about different aspects of chronic health conditions and how it ties into your hair falling out. And I focused on hair as opposed to skin and all these other things, because I realized that when I would try to talk about other things, those videos didn't do as well as when I was talking about hair. And I realized that there's a lot of dermatologists and a lot of doctors talking about skin on the apps, right? On socials, there's a lot of people talking about mental health and, oh yes, mental health as well, and all these different people. But not a lot of people hone in on hair. They talk about hair very briefly, very quickly, kind of like it's one of the main topics, but no one really focused on hair to the detail that I was focusing on hair, that I started to focus on hair. And I'm not saying there's no YouTubers out here that are doing that. I'm just saying there was more opportunity in that space. So I honed in on hair loss. And because hair loss was really the thing that kind of prompted me to turn my life around and to really start focusing on my health and wellness, because prior to that I didn't, right? I was in survival mode the whole time. I also left that marriage, which also was part of all the things that happened, everything that started to just change the trajectory of my life and put me back on a positive trajectory. So I say all that to say that this business was kind of 5 years in the making, not literally or not in a technical sense, but in a sense that everything providentially led up to me building this business. Because in me talking about all these different things, I had so many people in my DMs, in my inbox, here, there, anywhere you guys could get in contact with me, asking me where to buy certain things, what can I buy. So I started, promoting certain, saying, hey, go here, go there, go to Amazon. And some people were just like, where are your products? Like, where's your stuff? And I'm like, what stuff? What are you talking about? Like, because the stuff that I was trying to sell eons ago was like hair care stuff. And I'm like, I don't even feel, I can't be fake. Like, I can't legitimately talk about hair care stuff when my hair is trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know people do it all the time, but I'm just a different person. I'm from Brooklyn. I'm from Crown Heights in East New York, Brooklyn. I'm from the hood. Like, I was from a different time, so it's like where and how and when I grew up, it was all about loyalty. It was all about like keeping it a buck, right? So I was just not gonna sit here and lie and have a head full of weave and then be like, yeah, but this is gonna grow your hair. No, not grow your hair, this is gonna give you the best curls. Like, nah. So at that time I'm like, I don't have nothing, like, because that thing that I had in my mind to just sell hair care products, that's been dead. Like, that's been gone when my hair fell out. But one thing led to another, and I just believe that God put it in my heart to just say, you know what, because of what I did for work, I worked in the dermatology and pharmaceutical industries at the time. That's how I even knew to get a punch biopsy. It wasn't just like, I'm like, oh yeah, let me just do this. It was just, no, it was one of my clients, one of my customers, my doctors, providers was like, hey, you don't look too good, let me do this for you. And that's how it happened. And I realized that a lot of women, a lot of people women and men, especially of color, don't have access to a lot of these things, don't know that these things exist, don't know. Like, your hair start falling out, the first thing you're gonna do is slap some olive oil or whatever on there, and that's not gonna work. So it usually doesn't, and then you just start adding extensions and you damage it furthermore. You get stuck with a wig forever, and that's just the fate that you accept culturally. We don't know that there are options, that there are treatments, that there are solutions, medical grade solutions, all kinds of things. And I'm like, I have access to this because of what I do for a living, not because of anything else special, not because I got $1 million. It's just because of what I do for a living that I was able to have access to this. Why not bring this access to everyone else? I try to figure out different ways to do it. It wasn't making any sense. But the one thing people kept asking was, do you have a hair growth oil? I'm like, hair growth oil? No. But you know what I do know is I worked with these people who put together this serum, use these prescription ingredients to help me. And I'm like, how can I bring that to market? And so long story short, it started this whole journey of me working with the same dermatologists, clinicians, chemists, all kinds of people to help me figure out, how do I bring this to market at scale? How do I give everybody access to the same things I had access to without being able to hold their hand and take them to every specialist, every doctor, every this, every that? How can I bring this to everybody at scale? And it just opened up a whole new world. Like, I promise you, I had no idea. I've always been in the healthcare, pharmaceutical, in my main adult life anyway, healthcare, pharmaceutical, dermatology industries. But I mean, I didn't know anything about, telehealth and all of this. I worked for a pharmacy for a stint. I worked with a chemist who taught me how to create my own products and how to use different chemicals and put them together. Like, I went through all of that, right? But didn't know it was like wax on, wax off. It was building everything that I needed for this business. But it's funny because, and I'm trying to get to the point fast, it's like, while on one end God was developing my business acumen, my knowledge, my operational knowledge, and how to really build this business, on the other end, my character sucked. Everything about, my mindset was just not where it needed to be. And that's because I spent a lot of time working on the body, on building my body up, but my mind still needed to follow suit. And I did have my mind right from, growing up, in a very traumatic household, very traumatic childhood, single mom, at a very early age, spent some, I went through a lot of different things, and that's not this video. But just know that because there was a lot of things, I've learned how to be a survivor. I've learned how to be in survival mode. I've learned to suppress things, push them deep inside, and really not even deal with them, not manage those emotions, not really address them, and just keep moving. And man, when I tell you, this business has forced me to slow down and now deal with a lot of those issues, the PTSD, the emotions, the lack of faith, poor money management skills, all different things. It forced me to really have to deal with all of that stuff. And I thought it was going to come in a different form. Heck, I even thought that maybe it would be a relationship that brought certain things out of me. And not to say that it did not, but the business it was at the core of my healing process. And I'm telling you, I thought that it was only about me bringing this to market to give women access to stuff, but I didn't realize that the real source of my health deteriorating, my hair falling out, my skin falling apart, and me just gaining excessive amounts of weight, just being at my worst. While I thought it was the marriage I was in, and that is true, and while I thought it was the stuff that, my health that was leading to the hair loss and the skin and all of those things, it was much deeper. It was a lot of the unresolved trauma, pain, PTSD, CPTSD, and a lot of unresolved issues that were manifesting in these chronic health conditions that then manifested in hair loss and skincare. And I always say that my hair loss saved my life, because God knows that I could be so superficial, and many of us women are, that we don't really stop to really do anything about anything until we see it, until it's visual, until somebody's like, you don't look so good, until you look in a mirror and you're like, I am a shell of the person that I was and was supposed to be. And so when I tell you, this business rocked me to my core, because I was just like, oh yeah, I'm a smart girl. I could just put two and two together. I met with the right people, right consultants, right coaches. And I'm like, bet. I'm going to launch this telehealth platform that's about to shake up the industry, because most of the telehealth platforms out here, Hims and Hers, Ro.co, Muesli, Keeps, and all these other big names that you may or may not know of, none of them are targeting people of color, let alone women of color. They don't respect our dollar. They don't care about us. And this is a quick money grab for a lot of them. Me, on the other hand, I want to do something that's targeting people and women of color, that is targeting diverse people, BIPOC people, and I want to create solutions and treatments that's for us, by us, because my providers, my doctors were people of color. My dream team, ironically, were people of color. And I'm like, I want people who care about me to look out for me and my needs. And that's how I was like, yeah, I'm going to all the competitions. I'm trying to shake things up. I'm that girl. I'm big. I got that big mouth. You know what I'm saying? I'm from the hood. I know how to get in front of anybody and speak. I'm not afraid. And I don't stand I don't stand back. I don't stand down. Like, I am the person that I'm going to go out there. I'm not risk averse. I jump out the window. I take risks. Big talk, big person. But there was this brokenness that just kept popping up, and I'm like, yo, what is that? Like, you see the blemish, you take some makeup and you put it on, and I'm like, why is all this stuff coming up? My insecurities was starting to show. I'm in rooms with people that went to Ivy League schools, or I'm in rooms with people that have investments backing them up. They could say, oh, they got $50,000 that they raised from their friends and family. I'm in those rooms. I'm in rooms where people are like, oh, people of color don't have money to pay for stuff like that. Not only that, but then I'm in other rooms where people see this little black girl with a big dream, and she's just dumping everything she got into it. Let's take advantage of her. I've been scammed many times out of thousands and thousands of dollars for this business alone. We're not even talking about business or businesses that I've tried or different things like that. No, for this business alone, people that made promises, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, take my money, run off with it. Me being so quote unquote desperate, so eager to launch, to go live, to give you guys these things, that I ignore red flags from people, from vendors. You have conversations with people, and people can smell, the naivete on you. They can smell, the fact that you're fresh, you're new. A lot of you are like, how does this relate and how does this tie into a lot of the stuff that you've been through? It does, because at this point now, that insecurity starts to come out, that fear of rejection, that fear of not being good enough, of all these different things were starting to just come up and out. And now it's showing, now I can't even hide it. And now it's being exposed in my regular relationships with people. I don't feel like I'm that girl anymore. I can't talk that boss talk no more. I've went through so much of my savings. I put myself in debt. I had great credit. I did all these great things for myself and for my family, only to pretty much sacrifice it all for this business that didn't make me a penny, was just losing money left and right. Now my faith is wavering, because I'm like, God, I thought you gave me this idea. I thought you wanted me to help people. And in me trying to help people, I'm sacrificing myself and my family. Now this anger, this why me, this woe is me, this poor me mentality was coming up. Like, I'm just a victim. And all these different things that I could just tie into my trauma, my CPTSD, and all these different things that I just always did a good job of hiding. And now there was nowhere else to hide. I was being exposed. And I know it's like, girl, what that got to do with business? And it's like, okay, so what that mean? It means that, listen, what it means is that I realized with my faith that sometimes God has to, a delay is not a denial. Sometimes he needs to slow you down so that he can really develop your character before he can take you further. There were so many things wrong with my character, and things that I can't even talk about. Not just insecurities and low self-esteem and and not feeling good enough, or not feeling like I really can do this or make this happen. But there were other things that needed to be taken out of me, right? You know, when you, especially for me as a single mother, like I've learned to be resourceful, to cut corners, to, you know, oh, you know, you rob Peter, pay Paul, make sure you do this, do that, you know, not being a good money manager, you know, like just saying, well, I'll take care of it later because I got to take care of this right now. And if God can't trust you with a little in your life, with a little bit in your life, he's not going to give you more. And a lot of times we're sitting here praying for things. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a business owner. I want this. I want that. And there's 99 things that you ask God for, but you don't get it because God knows that you're not ready for it. And you can really genuinely believe in your heart that you want to do the right thing. You're trying to do this for good reason. And God has to basically uncover, like he has to unearth all the debris from your heart to show you that the heart is deceitful. And you could think that you want to do this for good and for that, but it could be for selfish gain. It could just be because I wanted to prove everybody that told me I was never going to be nothing when I had a kid at a very young age, for me specifically 14. When I had a kid at 14 and they told me I was never going to be anything, I was going to say, look at me now. And nothing is wrong inherently with some of these things. Let me make that very clear. But you have to understand your motive for doing anything. Because I'm telling you, business is no joke. It's nothing to play with. Real business, sustainable business. When we start talking about businesses that are worth 100 millions, billions, we talking about real valuations. We're not talking about, you know, you got a little business, make a couple thousand here, there. You know, it just keeps you the lights on and the bills paid. No. If you're not ready for that type of business, bro, you're not going to get it. God is not going to allow you to have that. And it's not because he's mean. It's simply because you're not ready for it. And you're going to get that business and you're going to run it to the ground. And I remember, you know, back in the day when I was younger and I used to go to church, I had a pastor that said to me, like, my childhood pastor, he was like, you know, people always ask God for a car, ask God to bless them with a car, with the car of their dreams, and God bless them with their dreams, but because their mind is not right, they'll take that same car and drive themselves off the cliff. And there was and still is a lot of stuff in me that needed to be unearthed. It had to be turned over, and not just to expose me, right? Obviously, I'm on here telling you guys, it's not like I'm out here, you know, on the tabloids, at least not yet, right? Because I think God is so gracious and merciful that he allowed me to deal with this quietly in the privacy of my own home, in my own life, so that I could avoid getting all the way there and then ending up on the news, right? Ending up in somebody's white collar prison, fed for doing some kind of foolishness because I'm thinking that I'm just a single mother from back in the hood where I could cut corner and rob Peter to pay Paul. It don't work like that. I don't know if this is a video I'm gonna post. It just came to my heart to let it out and to talk about it because I realized that God was the reason why my business was delayed. It was not a denial. It was not quote unquote what we like to blame it on the devil, the man, the white man, the environment, the situation, everything around me. All external factors are the reason why I can't be great. Instead of me looking at it and saying, while those things may contribute, ultimately, you know, my faith in God is what's gonna bypass all of those different factors. But most importantly, it has to be my mindset shift, my change in mindset. And, you know, sometimes you don't know what is going to be the vehicle to bring certain things out, to deliver certain messages to you. And for me, it was definitely this business, you know, but it was this business. There was a lot of things that I had to work on. And I just thank God because my faith got stronger because of this. My trust in him. And most importantly, the peace that if this didn't happen, didn't turn out the way I dreamt, it will be okay. I think you have to get to a point and in a place in your life where you can surrender. You are okay with things not going your way, with you not getting what you want. And I think that right there is the sweet spot. When you say, you know what, God, I'm going to trust you. I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know if you're even going to allow this. I don't even really know if this is what you want, but I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give this business to you. And if it works, I'm going to put it in your hands. I could do my part, but the rest is up to you. But then you got to get to the point where it's like, if it don't work, God, if it's not aligned with your will for my life, then I'm okay with that too. Because ultimately, maybe this business was for me. It was for me to help me finally address these issues that I've never addressed because I just became a savant, a ninja at burying things and running. Fight or flight, for me, I was a fleeter. Like, I would flee, like, I was out because I wasn't dealing with nothing. I got too much stuff to do. I got too much greatness to build. I got too much to do. I'm just too great to deal with this stuff. And God was like, oh, really? She'll be back. She will be back. I'm like, psych. Like the road runner. I'm out. You think you got me, God? What would it be like? Whatever. And then just hit a wall. And now God is like, you ready to listen? I'm like, wow. So that's dirty though. Like, so you gonna actually get me with my business though? You could have got me in any other way. He's like, nope, because you're gonna run from everything else. The business is the one thing that I run to. Everything else I run from. People not acting right, cut them off. Block them. Blockiana. Dudes get comfortable, cut them off. I'm out. Like, anything else, I'm out. I was like, look, I'm that chick. I overcame this marriage. I could overcome anything. So now the business, and I'm like, God, my business. And he's like, oh, you got time now. You ready to listen? Okay, let's go. And I'm like, but what we talking about though? Because the business, you know what I'm saying? He's like, no, slow down. We got to deal with all of this stuff that you never had faith to deal with, that you never put in my hand, that you never gave to me, that you never surrendered to me, that you never said yes to, that you never said, God, not my will, but let your will be. All these different things. You just kept running. You kept running. Now it's time to get your attention. Because see, now you want something from me. And then you begging, you pleading, you crying out loud, you screaming, God, please, please, please. There you have it. So God finally got me. And I'm just letting y'all know, he will get you too. Trust and believe. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but there's going to be a time in your life where you can't run anymore and you got to answer. And everybody's story, situation is different. For me, it was my business. For somebody else, it could be a relationship, their marriage, their kids. Something is going to bring you to your knees. Talk about weak in your knees. Something will bring you to your knees that's going to make you look up and say, all right, I surrender. I'm listening. And for me, it was this business. Listen, after weeks, months of dealing with scammers, vendors that took advantage of me, lack of money, lack of resources, teams that just keep changing. The face of my team just kept changing, and personal life was personal lifing, and still had to keep a job going and focus on that so that I could fund this, and then had to take care of my kids, and then my kids are growing and life is lifing for them, and all this chaos was going on in the midst of me trying to build this business. After weeks and months and all that, slowly but surely, God was giving. It's almost like he would spoon feed me a new win, and I had to get okay with the win. W-I-N, not wind. With the win, I'll take a win here, take a win there, and I started to be grateful with small wins. I started learning how to celebrate small wins instead of trying to be the overachiever and be this billion-dollar boss and didn't care about nothing else until I got there, because that was the end goal. And when I get to the end goal, I'm going to be happy. I'm not happy right now, and I'll probably not be happy right now. I'm just going to be happy when I get there. And God was like, nope, you still don't get it. Nope. You need to be happy now. You need to be content with whatever state you find yourself in, and you need to have gratitude. Because if it never happens, if you walk out this door and God forbid you die and it never happened, to just die that miserable life, unfulfilled, the reality really hit me of how unfulfilled I was. I was just in survival mode. And because I programmed myself to be a machine, bionic, I could not stop. He had to slow me down. So listen, guys, I'm sorry for the end. Was to tell you that after many weeks of me thinking that this business was gonna fail, and I didn't go into the specifics, I try to give you guys an overarching message, and maybe little by little throughout me putting out videos, I'll talk about different things that happened where I was like, this is not gonna happen. This is the end. I mean, I've even paused it, put it on ice for a little bit, went back to focusing on work, and then something else would come up. But finally, we are live. Not a beta launch. We're live. And I'm asking you guys in advance to support, but also take any mistakes at all as me being a small business owner. that funded this 100% out of my own pocket. This was a big feat that I took on. I didn't launch a beauty business. This is telehealth. This is a medical practice, an online medical practice that little old me without a license, a medical license, was able to do because I had to learn the business and really get some real good some good lawyers behind me to make sure that I could make this vision possible. And I sacrificed so much of my own anything for this. But you guys don't owe me anything. This is for you. You believe that you could benefit from what I'm putting down, you know, and it's just starting with serums, but it's going to expand to so much more to help women with chronic health conditions like me that just want to be better versions of themselves, but want to work on their external to really help develop their mental health, their inner health. It's more than just the physical, really. It's deeper than the physical. And you guys don't owe me anything. For those of you who want to support, but for those of you who could benefit from the service, from the product, go online and get your hands on this medical serum that is not found anywhere. You can't dupe it. You can't anything because it's a prescription. For those of you who just needed to hear this message, I really pray that this message blessed you. I pray that the right people come to my channel that will benefit from this and not take my personal story offensively, because again, this is my personal story, and I hope that even if all of it wasn't helpful, that you can cherry pick the moments that really spoke to you in your personal situation, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're someone who has to do the work and been avoiding doing the work, the inner work within yourself to finally heal, because you've been masking it with your success, with your accolades, with your money, with your business, with anything. And now you're at a place where you have no choice but to really deal with your inconsistencies, your deficiencies, the fact that you're human. I hope that this blessed you. I hope that it blesses you. The success of this business relies solely on me and whether or not it's in alignment with God's will, and I'm at peace with where it goes. But I just really hope that this message was able to help someone, because I don't do these kind of things. I'm very, very private. I'm private amongst my closest friends. Even if I post a video on here and I'm kikiing and I'm cracking jokes, or I'm just giving you guys me, I'm not giving you guys this much. And this is still not as deep as it could get, but it has to make sense, right? So thank you guys for listening, for following, subscribe. If you're new to this channel, binge. There's a lot of stuff on here for you to find and a lot more stuff to come. And I'm not just going to focus on hair anymore. I'm going to talk about everything that I do to really make me the confident woman that I am. Thank you, baddies. Love you. Bye.